With just a couple events left to go in the season, let's talk about what went down at DGLO, and while there were certainly no perfect rounds, it was still incredibly hyped, all the ups and downs along the way. So with that, let's get into it. This player just won my giveaway. Thank you everyone that participated. All you have to do for future giveaways is just be subscribed and comment down predictions. All right, now on to MPO. And I gotta say, there's one player that I cannot believe is so dominant, even though he didn't even win or get podium. That is Evan Smith. Hands down, the most enjoyable player to watch with a 76 footer, 51 footer, 71 footer, 45 footer, 61 footer, and 2 almost throw-ins on the same hole. Probably some of the most consistently insane shots we've ever seen. And if I had to compare it to anybody, it would probably be peak Calvin when his putter gets going. And I really don't know what to say other than he's been doing great at other points in the season. So it's hard to say it's incredibly surprising, but it is so fun to watch. And I love that he was truly in the mix at certain points. And it looked like he may have a potential to actually fight for the win. But the real contenders were Isaac, Ricky, and Gannon. And after round 3, leading by 5 strokes, Gannon definitely could just walk it in. And while it did get a little bit close towards the end, it never really was too much of a fight, with Gannon carding a respectable 5 under, nothing great, but nothing bad. But with the insane buffer going into this final round, it truly never felt like he was really going to let up, because he is probably one of the best players of all time. So the closer battle was Ricky and Isaac giving a true honest effort for the win, even though they had some moments where they just let up a little bit, and I never like to think about what ifs. But on round 1, hole 16, literally league card or feature card, whatever you want to call it, Isaac goes double OB on a very easy hole, and I have to attribute it to being dark, being just a very grueling course with a lot of waiting after the lightning delay. And while he did actually have another double in round 2, I would say there was never a point that Isaac looked too stressed during this entire event. And finishing out the final round with 9 under, I think it's very clear to say that Isaac is having a lot of things click in his game. Putter is feeling so automatic, allowing him to never really stress it no matter where he is in circle 1. While we don't have stats for circle 2, which is kind of crazy, but he just looked comfortable the entire way through. And if he could have just gotten a couple more breaks, he could have definitely fought for like a playoff potential. And that was very much the same way for Rick. Having so many good drives that leads to easy birdies, Rick was definitely also playing in his element. But one small thing I will note is that I do feel like he's trying to work a little bit extra on these birdies than the rest. Like comparing his birdies to Evan Smith's, I think there's just some in his mechanics where he's trying to do a little bit too much, which is obviously working well in this final round. But I do think there's some trends where he needs to simplify some of his putting motion, some of his drives to give himself less margin of error. But with that said, Ricky does putt like hours and hours every day. So if his putt is working for him, what do I know? I'm just some dumb am. But with that, they both finished pretty strong with like 5 under in the back 9, finishing tied for second, just 2 strokes behind Gannon.
Elite plus sweep is complete. How does it feel?
Unreal, incredible. I didn't think it was possible. Absolutely unbelievable, and especially it was a little scarier than I wanted it to be, but still got the W, and that's what matters. And yeah, to go 4-0 this year in Elite Pluses is absolutely crazy, and I think it's just a good building block to hopefully earning Player of the Year. That's been one of my long-time goals. Yeah, to have 6 wins this season is incredible, and 5 of them being 4-round tournaments. It's been a grueling season, that's for sure.
If you're like me and want to find a great pair of shoes you do not have to replace again and again for disc golf, look no further than Vessie's Stormburst. While filming Worlds, I walked 40 plus miles in these shoes. They held up so well during the entire event, and after playing dozens of rounds in these, I can definitely say you will not regret buying these. So if you want to follow in the footsteps of a 2-time world's champ, Isaac, and if you want to grab one of these, go down to vessie.com/wildruns for 15% off your order. You will not regret it. All right, so after round 2, it was looking like it was probably going to be a race between Kat and Kristin, but it still feels like we're in this era where Kat has like some weird stuff happen to her, or she just doesn't play well, and that was incredibly true on hole 8 in round 3. Goes out of bounds and then has a putt for par, and then that putt hits the basket, rolls like 70 feet down the hill, and goes into out of bounds again, turning a solid lead into a triple bogey, tying her with Kristin after that double OB. And after that point, there was no stretch where she looked dominant again, finishing that round with 5 OBs. And after such a strong lead, I really thought she was going to potentially run away with it, but that was just never true for the remainder of the event, with her final round being 2 over. So by a final round, it became a battle between Holyn, Hailey, and Kristin. And with Kristin only being 1 stroke behind Holyn, I definitely would have the edge with Kristin. But much like Kat, just weird stuff started to happen, honestly not the best shots, and she goes double OB on hole 1 with a double bogey. And while she did follow that up with a birdie, she followed that up with another devastating hole where she gets double OB and misses a C1 putt to card another double bogey. And at that point, it was basically like, okay, she's out. Now it's just Hailey versus Holyn. It is crazy that that is the case because we know Kristin is so dominant, especially in a course like this, but I truly feel like we're in this spot where we have like this GOAT level Kristin where she can do no wrong, strong. Then we have this kind of weird mid version of Kristin where like every shot feels like kind of forced and it's not comfortable. And it feels so weird to be in that juxtaposition where she can make a phenomenal, crazy long putt, but then immediately follow that up with an OB that we just don't expect from Kristin. Now, this could be injury recovery. This could be the fact that she doesn't have enough practice, but it feels very strange for her final round to be 975 rated. But with that, she still ends in 3rd place. So it's a battle between Hailey and Holyn. And while Hailey was playing very consistent, not letting really any stroke slide, she was just not carding enough birdies to really capture enough momentum to get closer to Holyn. And despite only having 1 bogey in the entire round, she just could never catch up to Holyn's lead. And Holyn and Hailey end with a respectable 7 under, but it ended up never really being close. So Holyn captures the win by 3 strokes over Hailey. And I can't really say anything extremely notable for Hailey this entire event, but I will say watching Holyn, there were so many putts that you would not expect to go in again and again and again. But the entire duration of this tournament, she had so much confidence, and she mentioned it in the interview. She was playing like cool, calm, relaxed. And I feel like this is what we truly need for Holyn to capture more and more wins and not have these fluky moments in final rounds where things just kind of like falter. She loses all sense of confidence. That was not true in this final round, and especially not true in the 3rd round where she carded 10 under. The next highest round was 4 under from Kristin. But if Holyn can keep focusing on these confident turnover lines, confident forehands, extremely good circle 2 putts, then I truly don't think anybody can beat her besides Kristin. And with Kristin entering her end of season slump, it feels like, I think Holyn definitely has a chance to at least win one of the last few events for the remainder of the season. But honestly, if I'm Holyn, this is probably my most confident win I've ever had. So I'm definitely thinking that her trends are going up and up, especially going into the off season.
So good. I mean, especially after how bad Worlds felt. I almost thought I was going to cry just walking up the fairway. That feels really good to win one.
Well,
I mean, I tried to take kind of what worked for me yesterday. Yesterday I was just in a really great mood. I was vibing with my card mates, and I was like, there's no reason I can't vibe with Mertsch and Kristin and Hailey. So I just tried to come in with that same mindset and just stay really relaxed.
So with that, thank you guys so much for watching. This is kind of a less dramatic version of most events, but honestly, it was kind of clear cut. I thought Gannon was going to win. He did win. I thought Kristin was maybe going to run away with it, but after a certain point, Holyn was just so dominant. There was nobody that was even going to come close, and so she also dominates. So with that, not the most intriguing event, but it is what it is. With the final few tournaments left, and especially for Holyn, after a very devastating Worlds, I think this is the best comeback you could ever imagine. So I think it's all definitely a good trend. And be sure to go to Wysocki.com/wildruns for 15% off your order. You will not regret it. And with that, Wild Runs signing out. Peace.
Beth at 69.
I just told myself, you just got to will this one in there. Whatever you have, just will it in there.
This man is unbelievable. This is what athletes live for. This is the moment.